Hi, I'm Danae Wolf, and I'm passionate about helping big thinking entrepreneurs understand their numbers so they can increase their profits and decrease their stress. So join me each week for an honest convo, jam-packed with tangible advice on all the things needed for a profitable company and a thriving life. Because the truth is, if you don't know what's going on in your bank account, you don't know what's going on in your business. Welcome to the Profit Factor Podcast. This is episode number 2. And if you joined me for episode 1, thank you so much and welcome back. I'm thrilled that you wanted to join me again. Today, I'm really excited to talk about a topic I briefly mentioned in the first episode. If you didn't tune in, please feel free to go back and listen to episode 1, where I talked about why every single business owner started their company for one reason and one reason only: to make money. In the episode, I briefly touched on what I refer to as the Empress Has No Clothes. And today I really want to dig deep into this idea more and provide you with tangible tools to ensure that you, my Empress, have clothes, and not just any clothes, but the finest clothes you can dream of. So what exactly do I mean when I say the Empress has no clothes? Simply put, I'm referring to the facade. It's what happens when a business's public persona doesn't match their behind-the-scenes situation. In my company, the Chic CFO, I serve as a virtual CFO for my clients, which means that I am deep into their finances. I see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and sometimes, guys, even the scary. Now, before I actually start working with my clients, I have no clue what their financial situation is, right? It's not like companies include a snapshot of their bank balance on their Instagram. So all I have to go off of initially is their online persona and brand. So when I receive an inquiry from a potential new client, the very first thing I do is diligently stalk them online, as I'm sure they do to me right before they decide to fill out my inquiry form. And as I'm stalking these potential clients, I of course head over to all the main spots: Facebook, Instagram, their website, and sometimes even Pinterest and LinkedIn if they're active on there. Now, I'm a sucker for a beautifully designed brand. Show me a carefully curated Instagram feed and I swoon. So often, I find myself head over heels with a prospect based solely on their public persona and image. Then when we begin our onboarding and I actually see their financials, sometimes I'm in total shock. What I discover is that the carefully chosen color palettes and impressive use of Canva templates was all a facade just to cover the fact that they're broke. And I don't mean like living paycheck to paycheck broke. I mean not even getting a paycheck broke. I have seen bank accounts in the negative. I've seen tax liens. I've even seen evictions. And do you want to hear the most disturbing part? All of these companies were making over $1 million per year in revenue. So where did all the money go? Simply put, it went to shit. And I really wanted to attempt to not curse at all on my podcast. And here it is, episode 2, and it's already happening. But honestly, guys, shit is the only word in the English language to appropriately describe what this money was spent on. And you know what would happen every time that I had to explain to an entrepreneur what they had spent their money on? They would be shocked. Even though every single dollar had been spent by them, they genuinely had no concept of the amounts. I mean, you would think they had amnesia. And then, as I would watch their wheels spinning, they would say to me, "But why did I do that?" And I'd be like, "Well, I don't know, Susan. Why did you buy a horse?" And guys, I'm not being funny. That really did happen once. And for the record, a horse is not tax deductible. So once the shock wears off on both of our parts, both on my client and mine, that sticker shock of where all this money has been wasted, we start our tedious journey of trying to right their ship. And I begin educating my client on what they should and shouldn't be spending their time and money on. And that's really what I want to dive into today. As an entrepreneur, your two most valuable resources are time and money. So it's absolutely imperative that you are picky about how you spend them. So how do you know what you should be spending your money and time on? Well, it's really, really simple. And if you tuned in last time, you should already know what I'm going to say. What's our number one rule, guys? If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. So every time you are about to spend money or time on something, I want you to ask yourself one question. Will this make me money? Is the item or service you're about to purchase or the task you are spending time on resulting in revenue dollars? In other words, are you generating sales? Let's look at some examples. When you're deciding, let's say, if you should buy a brand new printer, should you get the one with all the bells and the whistles, the Porsche, the Lamborghini of printers? Ask yourself, will this make me money? Well, if you're a printer and your product is selling the items you print, then yes, invest away. But if you just need a printer for day-to-day office work, then no, my dear, you do not need a fancy printer because it's not a revenue-generating item for your business. Now, let's say that you sell online courses and you're in search of a new platform and you decide that you're going to make the move to, let's say, Kajabi. This, my friends, would be considered an investment because Kajabi will serve as the platform to sell your digital product, which means that it is revenue generating. Is this making sense? Okay, so now let's take a look at time. Let's say you're spending hours and hours researching information for your blog. I need you to put the laptop down and ask yourself, is this generating revenue? The answer is no. So often entrepreneurs get lost in the busy work. The work that we think we should be doing as a business owner, the social media, the blogging, the podcasting, the networking events. And I'm not saying these tasks don't serve a purpose. They absolutely do. But again, your company has only one purpose: to make money. And how do we make money? By generating sales, which means that the vast majority of your day should be spent on generating sales. Don't get lost in the noise of the day-to-day. Remember this: done is better than perfect. Write that down. Done is better than perfect. You cannot get lost in analysis paralysis where you convince yourself that you need that fancy printer or you need a blog post on par to the level of a New York Times bestseller. Chances are you are not an award-winning writer. And you want to know something? That's okay. And if you don't believe that it's okay, you are going to be kept in a state of procrastination. And you don't have time for that. Time is money. And if you want to make money, you have to make sales. And I can already hear some of you saying, but I'm not a salesperson. Well, I've got news for you. Every single entrepreneur is a salesperson. And if you're not, you are not going to last. You started your company to make money. And you do realize how you make money, right? By making sales. You have to actually sell your product or service in order to make money. Yet somehow sales always seem to be on the back burner. So often I will speak to my entrepreneurs about the financial state of their company, and I'll tell them they need to increase revenue by, say, a certain percentage in order to hit the goals that we've set together. Month after month, I will see the revenue remain stagnant. And you want to know why? Because the entrepreneur always manages to find something that they deem more important to focus on. I truly want to scream when this happens. If you take anything from our chat today, let it be this. There is nothing more important than sales. Your company can't survive without money. And there is one way and one way only to get money. And that is by making your sales. So don't tell me that you aren't generating sales because you are waiting for the guy from Fiverr to set up your active campaign automations. Don't tell me that you're not generating sales because you're in the middle of redesigning your website. There is no excuse big enough to ever put sales on the back burner. Your only job as an entrepreneur is to sell. And if you can't do that, then you damn well better find someone who can, or you are going to go under. Let me tell you a little story. When I started my company, I didn't have a website or a Facebook page or a single business card. Now, I will say that I was on the board of the Women's Business Center and I was teaching classes to entrepreneurs. So I was really able to organically grow my practice through that network, but it was nothing substantial. And I'm sure if each of you looked within your circles, you would find an avenue to start to spread the word about your services as well. I started my company with no website, no Facebook, no business cards, and to be honest, a very old laptop. But I had one advantage. I knew the golden rule. If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. So I refused to spend a nickel on anything until I could generate enough sales to A, prove my concept, right? I wanted to prove to myself that this wasn't just a side hustle, but that it had the potential to be a real company. And B, I wanted to wait until I had enough sales that the company could pay for the website, could pay for the logo designs, and so on. And I operated like this for the first year, guys. One whole year. I think at some point throughout that time, I did throw up a Facebook page because a prospect asked me if I had one. And then toward the end of the year, a client asked me if I had a website. So I legit created one on my iPad in less than an hour for less than $150 using a GoDaddy template. Okay, so now I want to switch gears and tell you about someone in a Facebook group that I'm in who shall remain nameless. So this person offers the same exact services as me, and we actually launched at the same time. So it was really great to kind of follow our journeys together and see how it all played out. Now, there was one very, very big difference between me and this person. I spent a couple $100 total within my first year. She invested over $20,000 to launch her business. Now, she had the gorgeous logo, the fancy website, the social media channels bursting with content, the blogs, the Pinterest, I mean, you name it, and she had it covered. Then here's me with my website, which looks like my 3-year-old made it. Approximately 3 posts on Facebook and a laptop on its last leg. So how do you think the two of us made out after our first year? Well, at the end of that 12 months, she had spent over $20,000 on her business, and she actually lost money. But me? Well, in my first year, I'm proud to say I generated 6 figures. 6 figures off a couple $100 investment. Is your mind blown? Because mine was. So how can this be? How is it possible? Well, it comes back to the golden rule. If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. And how do we make our money? By making sales. How on earth will you have time to generate sales if you're so busy designing the facade of your company? And I'm calling it a facade because that's what it is if you have no sales. I can't go to your website and read that you help entrepreneurs make money if you have no clients, because that makes you a fraud. And what you should have written was, I hope to one day help entrepreneurs. Now, if you have checked out my website, and now, of course, you're listening to my podcast, you're probably thinking, I'm a hypocrite. But let me explain. I generated that first 6 figures with none of this. And in fact, I waited until I hit multiple 6 figures before I would even dare say that I help entrepreneurs increase their profits, because I had to prove it to myself and to my clients that I could actually do that. I had to prove it and make sure it was validated before I dared to launch this podcast. Otherwise, this would all be a facade. I launched my company with one goal: to make money. That was it. So if you're getting lost in all the other crap, take it back to basics and focus on your sales. If I have one more entrepreneur tell me that they don't have time to focus on sales, I'm going to lose it. There is nothing else more important. Why does it always seem like it goes to the back burner or something else is taking priority? Don't tell me you can't start marketing because it takes you weeks to write a blog. Like I've said, done is better than perfect. And if you're really struggling, then maybe blogs aren't your thing. So switch to another medium. Try videos or Facebook groups or even a podcast. There are tons of ways to generate sales, but you have to find the one that works for you. And you have to actually do it. Don't tell me that you spent your day answering emails. Don't tell me that you spent your day organizing your office. Those things don't move the needle. If it doesn't result in extra dollars in your bank account, I don't want you spending more than 20 minutes on it. So this week, I really want you to examine your calendar through this new lens and ask yourself, is my calendar full of revenue generating activities? And if the answer is no, rearrange it. I want you to make a conscious effort to schedule revenue generating activities on your calendar each and every single day. And I want you to set sales goals based on that time, because it's not enough to schedule this. We have to make sure we are measuring it to see if it's working. Follow this plan for at least a month. And guys, I promise you, you will be floored by your results. Put sales on the front burner where it belongs. Everything else will get done in time. Sales has to come first. I did this with a beat up laptop and that's it. Well, I lie. I also had Wi-Fi and a cell phone, but so does everybody in this day and age. That's all you need. Sales, sales, sales. All right, guys, this concludes episode 2. If you are still with me, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you received some small piece of insight today. As always, I would love to hear from you. I'm a newbie, right? So I need to know what you guys think. So please subscribe and leave me a review and let me know what you think. Until next time, bye guys.